I've got Alan from Duluth.
Hi, Governor. I am puzzled by a quote that's attributed to you, so I'm hoping to get clarification on that. Given that the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency has failed to uphold water quality standards, how could you say that you want to make the EPA disappear and turn permitting processes over to state and local government? Or rather, that's the quote attributed to you in the Pioneer Press. Do you stand by that?
Well, it's not going to happen, but I think one of the real problems we have with government right now is we have these overlapping layers of jurisdiction. And so you've got, watershed districts, you have townships, you have cities, you have counties, you have Bowser, then MPCA, then you have federal EPA, and it just suppresses everything that wants to move forward, or much of what wants to move forward. If we have an issue in Minnesota with a lack of rigor by the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, then that's where we got to solve the problem, and not expect some group of people who live down in work down in Chicago to have any real motivation to make the changes necessary to allow us to move forward and create jobs here in Minnesota. And the rationale back in the 70s when a lot of this was put in place was that certain states, southern states, didn't have the same commitment. Well, I think that time has passed. There may be states in the south that don't, maybe states in the west, or maybe states in the north. But again, I think we have the wherewithal to deal with that. I certainly have the federal government through Department of Justice or whatever have the ability to intervene when there's really serious negligence on the part of the state. But I just think as a matter of making things a lot more efficient, that that's a layer that I think is one too many. And based on my experience as governor, and no disrespect to EPA or to the Chicago office, but it's just it's very, very hard to get any attention, to get anything moving. Same thing with the Army Corps of Engineers, where we had these meetings on Asian carp, and they're like, well, if you get the revised application in, well, then we'll look at it within 6 months, maybe. I mean, we're in an urgent situation, and it's just not their job to be responsive to Minnesota the way our state agencies. If you have evidence or belief that Minnesota Pollution Control Agency now is not fulfilling its responsibilities, I'd appreciate you let me know. I'll give you my home phone number and write it down. Write it down. Or you've got it taped. 651-201-3468. 651-201-3468. I live alone with 3 German Shepherds, and they don't know how to answer the phones. To get security, you get me. And I welcome calls on bring to my attention anything that you want me to be aware of.